Power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
To the final hour of the Situation Room this morning, and we thank you very much for keeping it locked. Now, Cradle.com. Cradle is this organization that helps students find universities abroad, helps you even to apply for those universities, walks the journey with you. And I have experienced Cradle, actually, and I can tell you this. So when Latifa was doing her high school exams, now she's starting to think about, okay, I want to go study abroad and want to look at what I can get. She got in touch with Cradle.
Yeah.
And we got in touch with Cradle and we started interacting with them. And those guys are really good because they'll actually walk with you. So they sat down with her and asked her, what would you like to do?
What do you want to do?
I'd like to do interior architecture. What's that? So explain what interior architecture is. That they want to see, do you actually understand? So why do you want to do this? What's your expectation out of it? All right, where would you like to study? Which countries would you like to go to? Why? Right? Okay. So we have several links and contacts with all the universities in these countries. Let's look at which ones offer this kind of course that you're looking for. Some of them we look. And then you can also do the same yourself. And if you find any, let us know. And then we reach out to that school and see if we can help you. So they walk the journey with you. When they tell you come and we'll bring the universities, the top universities in Ireland on this day, and they will be here, that journey will not just end there. It will be the beginning. Because once you go in there for the Study in Ireland fair, and you then start interacting with the various universities, then they will then pick up from there. What did you find? What did you like? Did you like this university? Maybe I'm still confused. I don't know whether to go to this university. What are those universities?
Also, the quite a number of
University of
them.
Limerick.
Right, the University of Limerick. There's also Griffith College, University of Galway, Technical University of the Shannon, Dublin City University, Independent College, University College Cork.
So maybe after that you'll be like, okay, so I saw the Cork guys were good, the Shannon people, so I'm not really sure they'll help you walk that journey.
To make a decision.
Yeah. So when is the fair?
The fair is on the 9th of November. It starts at 8 a.m. in the morning. It concludes at 1.
Yes.
So you can actually walk in at 8 and leave at 1 with all the information that you need and probably have already made a decision.
And contacts.
Why? Because you can apply to one of these universities on the spot.
Yeah.
You can also get information about what you need to do to get your visa to go.
Yes.
You can also get information about scholarships that you can apply for that will help you pay for your university education.
Yes.
So you could get in with nothing,
Yes.
leave with everything that you need.
Yes. Okay. So on to our conversation. Last week we saw President William Ruto was in Turkana and he was dressed in that regalia, right? And he was looking, what's the word?
Resplendent.
That's the one, right? Because it was the Turkana Cultural Fair Festival that was going on. Let me tell you, he wasn't looking as good as he'd be looking next week when he goes for the Ma Cultural Festival.
Voilà.
Remember those photos of Ruto in the Mara?
Yes.
In the Maasai gear.
Regalia, yes.
And how he was looking. And that photo went around the world because Maasai outfit is the national dress of Kenya.
Okay.
So
it's been decided, okay.
Sio tumemaliza.
Hiyo imefungwa.
Sio tumemaliza. Sio tumekubaliana.
Hiyo lock.
Sio tumesema mambo ya national dress. Sio tumesema ni ile moja. Ile shuka ya Masai. Sasa tunajua hiyo shuka. Sasa tunajua shanga ya Masai. Sasa tunajua vile inavaliwa. Sasa kila mtu yote tumekubaliana. Ama nyinyi mnasema nini watu ya Samburu? Kabisa.
Hapo sawa.
Sio?
Hapo sawa.
Kabisa. The two people from Samburu who are here are ministers. Yes. The Waziri in charge of tourism in Samburu is called Raphael Lenayara, and the Waziri in charge of culture is Evelyn Ntamuni Lendano. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Karibuni sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Asante.
Now, Lydia, please focus on Waziri Evelyn tafadhali and show everybody Kenya's national dress. They're here so that we talk about the Ma Cultural Festival that will be taking place next week. Welcome to the conversation. One thing that we're going to do to welcome you is you're going to listen to this gentleman here. What he's wearing is very good. He dresses very well. But imagine the day that we dress him up in Ma attire.
It's over.
Yeah, I will only ask for one thing. I also want an earring.
Just one. A big one, but to wear your ear.
Tunatoboa masikio.
Nataka earring.
Hakuna shida. So the guy has a proverb.
It's for the ladies.
No, hii ya shingo ni ya mama.
Even the earring.
Tutatoboa ile shimo moja.
Iko earring ya wazee.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
Yes.
Na tunaweka ile nini ya tumbaku hapo.
Yes. Sijaitisha dread, ni earring peke yake.
Basi hiyo utapata. Iko hiyo.
So City will give you the day's proverb. Every week he goes to an African country, he comes up with proverbs. No, he comes with proverbs from that country, and then he gives us a proverb. Your job is to listen to the proverb and give us your interpretation of it.
Okay.
Not necessarily their interpretation, yours, what the proverb says to you. So this week, where are you sitting?
We are in the state of Libya. A country with a very, very rich history. As I mentioned in the earlier hour, in the 5th and 6th century, it was actually the center for Christianity. Now, those of you who are Bible thumpers, you will have understood that there was a gentleman called Simon of Cyrene. Cyrene is actually in Libya. But as we speak now, 2.7% of the population of Libya is actually Christian. Yes.
Only 2%.
Yes. The rest are Sunni Muslims.
Okay.
Yes. There's always others, people who believe in this and the other, which doesn't conform to either Christianity or Islam. But they're usually a very small minority.
Okay.
The proverb: when the turban moves, there moves the territory.
When the turban moves, there moves the territory.
Yeah.
Waziri Raphael, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
So when the turban moves, there moves the territory. I think the turban, as far as I know, is what people put around the it's like a headgear of some sort.
It is a headgear.
Yeah. So when that moves, it says the territory moves. So does that interpret that when that person moves? I think you've just explained it at the beginning when you started. And I will want to believe what you mean is when you move from like an area of a certain culture or what people do to a certain area, you have to adapt the culture of those people where you have moved to. That's the way I would want to look at it.
Good way of looking at it. Yes. Let's ask the culture minister what she thinks.
Okay. I think when the turban moves, there moves the territory. And he thought of Christianity as 2%, and that there was this notion of Christianity having cover their heads when they go and pray. So when you remove this, it's as if you have uncovered the person. So which is not normal according to that culture. So it means if you move that veil or the covering, you've moved the tradition, the culture of that person, and the beliefs of that person. So that is what you are saying. The territory also moves. So it means also the culture of that person changes all of a sudden, or changes because the turban has, the veil has been moved. So it is as simple as making that person naked.
You know, these interpretations are beautiful.
I love it.
Maridadi kabisa.
Very, very, very maridadi. Maridadi, just like Waziri.
Oh, thank you.
The camera is still on you. Please explain to us what you're wearing.
Well, this is our traditional regalia. We have beadworks with me, and then the dress. This is the dress code. So I expect during the Ma Cultural Week, this is one of the dress codes that we'll be having, among others.
What do they symbolize? Let's start with the headgear. Does it mean anything? What does it mean?
Yeah, it symbolizes our tradition. That is the Samburu and the Maasai. So the moment you see the beadworks, something reads or something tickles in your mind that this is you are dealing with a Maasai. So it symbolizes our culture. It symbolizes our way of living. This is how we normally dress. Yes.
Why must they have those jingling things?
Oh,
for example,
this
the
is
necklace.
for beauty.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the necklace is out of this world. It's something else.
Which necklace?
Okay.
Which one? How many are there?
There are beadwork.
How many are we wearing? How many necklaces are you wearing?
There are several. Yes.
Oh, sorry. The necklaces.
They're out of this world.
Yeah. Unauthentic.
Okay.
Yes.
If you look at them, just to put it into a series input, the necklace at the head, every person has a different wear. You see, like now what she has on the head, that's a married, it's only for married ladies. So if you get a young girl who is not married, the headgear will be different.
All right.
All right.
How different?
It will be a bit different in the sense that they will wear something that will completely cover their eyes and partially their face. But unlike the married woman, whereby it's just a single, you see like a single chain that goes around. So at least you can see her eyes, you can see the beauty and all that. All right? Also, what she has on the neck is only also for married women. If you see the young girls, the necklaces are different. So every necklace or every edge set or stage has a different kind of attire.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it the same for the shukas?
Shukas is the same also. Yeah, it's the same. A young lady will have a different kind of dress code as opposed to a married lady, or those ladies who have passed a certain stage but they are not yet married. So you will actually be able to differentiate
just by looking.
By just looking at the person,
you can tell
on what they are wearing.
This is
a married lady. This is not yet married.
Single.
Yeah.
This is older to a certain age set, like you said. Beautiful, isn't it? Now, this you're saying is the Ma culture. Who are the Ma people?
Very good. The Ma people are the Ma speakers. The Ma is derived by the dialect Ma, because as you know, the Ma is generally a specific group of people that are both in Kenya, they are in Tanzania, they go all the way down to Zambia, Zimbabwe, down there. And the Ma comes from, of course, that dialect that we speak. When people talk of Ma, they only see the Maasai. But Ma is Samburu. We have the Jamus. We have the Maasais, who are from the south. We have people that we call the Real. And these are basically Rendiles who speak the Ma language. And if you look at it, we migrated all the way from the north. So Samburus were left in the northern part of Kenya, but our cousins went all the way down, to the southern side of the country, all the way to Tanzania, and further down. So ideally, Ma are the Ma speakers, the dialect itself. And as I've said, we are not just from the 3 Ma counties, but from many other counties, that is the Kajiado, Samburu, Narok, Baringo, Laikipia, Isiolo, Marsabit. So we are in all those territories.
Okay.
As I've said, that's all the way down to Tanzania.
When you say Ma dialect, what's that? Are you saying that you speak the same language, all of you?
Yeah.
Correct.
The Ilchamus, the Rendile, the Maasai, the ones across in Tanzania, in Arusha, they speak the same language?
That is true. We all speak the same language. Depending on what area you are in, it slightly changes, like if you a Samburu can clearly, if you look at Samburus and Maasais of Kilgoris, there is no difference when we speak. You will find a little bit of a difference when a Samburu speaks and a Maasai of Loitoktok, for example, like Kisongo. There will be a little bit of a difference. When the Jamus and Samburus speak, no difference, So, but at the end of the day, you can still understand what that person is saying. So they speak the same language.
Okay. And the culture is the same. Like you've said, when it comes to, cultural practices, are they the same? When it comes to the way you've described, if it's how you dress, how you interact, does it cut across?
Absolutely. Culture is the way of life, the way you live, what you do on your day-to-day life, what you practice, what you eat. That is what is culture. It's basically the way of life for certain communities or certain grouping of people. So if you look at the Ma speakers, the Ma people, that is, as I've said, the Masais, the Samburus, the Jamus, the Arials, and all those, they basically live the same way of life. They do the same practices, same cultural practices. The food they eat is the same, So yeah, they basically live the same way of life, for lack of a better word.
When we talk about the preservation of culture, I'm interested to know what things were done or how this culture has been preserved. If you look at Kenya, coming outside in, I think one of the most photographed tribes in Kenya is the Maasai. And for a lot of people who come out of Kenya without having an internal knowledge of what happens, you would think that all Kenyans are Maasai, just because of what you see on the outside. And I think, of course, it's not the truth because there's so much more, but it is a spectacular representation of culture. Why or how do you think that this particular culture has been preserved? Why? And what have you been able to do to insist on that?
Okay, thank you. So, Maasai culture, the holders of the Maasai culture, the Samburu Council of Elders. So we have Council of Elders. So from one age set to another, they transfer this knowledge. So when we have age set that is transiting from one to another, that is when the young boys are being transited to the next age set, they are being trained. And also for the ladies, we have old ladies. And through storytelling, through riddles, they preserve this culture. They pass it to the next generation. So it is rarely eroded. That is why this culture is as real as it was some years back.
But Waziri, one could argue that all tribes have some sort of a council of elders, right? But not many have been able to retain and outwardly portray and demonstrate their culture like the Ma people. So what is it about the Ma that has kept it like this?
Okay, thank you. I think for the Ma, it is special because we have different rites of passage. We have different way of, that is the unique way of living that we, just by being a Ma, you get to know what is required of you from this age set to the next. So it's actually their way of living. We've never been maybe tampered with the way we live. That is, and also they click to their cultures. Though we receive pressures from modernization and also neighbors, communities that we are living with, but still, this is very unique for the Ma because for them this is just the normal way of living. So as long as they retain this way of life, I don't think there is any dilution of their culture. So they have several ways of doing it. Like they come together during circumcision. During even the giving birth of a baby. There is a ritual that is done and the entire community gets together. So I think this coming together all the time, celebrating several ceremonies together, ensures that this culture is preserved and that it is also passed to the upcoming generations. So this is unique for us.
Just to add on, she said the Ma culture is the most photographed. I think that is what Madam said. And it is true. It is a very popular cultural attraction, and actually it plays a key role in tourism economy as well. And it's true. When you go to some of these countries like Europe, America, and the rest of the world, and you say, I'm from Kenya, hardly will somebody get to know where Kenya is. But when you say you are a Maasai, they say, now that is, they actually know Maasais or Ma culture more. When you say I'm a Ma person or I'm a Maasai, they get to know that truly you are from Kenyan country.
You kill lions.
Yes. And it's true what Wasiria said. We have really tried to preserve our culture. But it is true also the culture is going through a lot of pressure due to Western, way of life. But as she said, I think we have mechanisms, we have structures, as a Maasai, regardless of where you've been to or where you've gone to school, you must go through the cultural practices. For you to graduate from one stage to the other, you must go through those traditions. I'm sure being a Maasai. Even if you have gone to Harvard University, for example, you must come back home to go through some of these rites of passage.
The thing is, there are many people who argue, Raphael, that, the Maasai did not interact much with the Western culture, with the Mzungu when they came in, but that's false.
It is.
Just the positioning of where the Ma people are. As they were building the railway, they interacted with the Ma people from
all the way. Yes.
They displaced the people from Laikipia. They
Correct.
engaged with them. They fought with them. Right here in Nairobi, this was Ma land. I mean, Ma owned like half of the country.
Oh, yes.
In those days. So why is it that the Ma people were able to not take in that influence of the Mzungu then? Because this is what we saw, has been said, that this is what happened to the other cultures. The other cultures, sort of embraced the Western way of life. They embraced education. They embraced Christianity immediately. And with that, especially for like those in Mount Kenya, it's changed a lot of impacted their culture. City. Nini, Mike, go on.
Yeah, it is true. And many people think that we have never interacted with these Musungus, so our culture was never interfered. But you've just said it rightly. All the way when they're doing the railway, they were passing through the Maland. Nairobi was a Maland. Like Kipia, for example, where most Musungus pushed the Samburus, the Maasais out of that land. That was Maland. But, it is just a true example of saying if you come to an organization that has no culture or they have no structures, you can easily be able to influence that organization to go your way. But if you find people who have already their structures, their way of life, Maasais knew God way before, because many people are influenced through church, when the Musungus came into this country, and you are influenced to say you have to go to church to pray to get closer to God. But even before Musungus came, we had Ngai. So Samburus knew whether I go to church or remain at home, I will still pray and God will hear my prayers. And so that is one way that has really, just by having those structures, that is one way that has really helped these mass speakers to really retain their culture. And I think in some few areas, people even resisted going to schools. Why? Because they saw it changing their way of life.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to you and tells you, for example, my brother here, that you must remove your shirt and wear something else, because the shirt you are wearing is not, it shouldn't be your way of dressing. And you found me dressing the shuka all along. I feel it comfortable being in those shukas. I don't see why I should go your way by starting now putting on a shirt, trousers, and all that kind of a thing. So I think by just having those structures and family having our traditions, believing in the way we used to live, that has really helped the Ma people not to change their way, like many other people fall into trap by going to church and by so doing. I'm not saying church is bad. Even if you look at it today, if there are any other stronger believers, actually it's the Ma speakers. Yeah. So I think we just stood firm. We never fall into the trap, and we retained our culture alongside the church.
Okay. We're talking about the Ma Cultural Festival, which was coming up soon, and it's being hosted this year by Samburu County. And that's why the Minister in charge of tourism in Samburu County, Raphael Nayara, and the one in charge of culture, Evelyn Nantumi Ntemuni Lentano, are our guests. 29 minutes to 10. Time for us to take this break. And as we go into the break, Ndu?
Yes.
See, there is a Safaricom 4-in-1.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
It's all.
Yeah.
Huh? You said 4-in-1.
It's all for one.
In one.
All in one. It's all in one. Because I think about it, it's four things.
Four things in one. So you could be onto something there. So guess what? You dial star 4544 hash, and you go to Go Monthly. Go Monthly then gets you into those bundles where you can decide. Okay, I want airtime, I want text messages, I want data, and also you can get free WhatsApp thrown into that. So what does that mean? It means that you don't have to get to a situation where your airtime runs out in the middle of the conversation. Says, I have to buy credit, I have to call you back. Or I sent a message, you didn't get it, then you look at your phone 2 days later. Oh no, it didn't go because I didn't have airtime. No, you don't have to do that anymore. You can buy freedom by dialing *544# and tap into Safaricom's all-in-one, whereby you have access to all of these things for 30 days. You pay once, talk for as much as you need to, internet, bundles, etc., etc. Do it today.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Hii Septemba, endelea kufurahi.